All right, let's start off and have you introduce you, what's your name, and what it is that you do.
I'm Angela Weathers. I'm the head coach and the GM of the Dallas Skyline.
Dallas Skyline, this is their what year in the league?
We're going into our third year.
And your third year. And where were you last year?
I'm actually new to the league and to my team.
Okay, and what was your experience then before you came to Dallas?
Lifelong experience. So I actually matriculated into this league by way of Prescott is one of my former student athletes.
Oh, really?
So I started in grassroots and literally coached, trained pros all the way up, developed a national prep program, have coached internationally through visiting programs and things like that. And so full circle.
Full circle. So have you been set as a head coach before?
I have not.
No.
In a formal professional rank, no.
Okay. Was it high school level professional or coaching?
Yeah, national prep level.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Philly prep, the top level in the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how does a head coach coming in here now professional walk into a massive combine like that? How do you take it all in? What do you do?
Well, I think because of my background as a former player, as well as a trainer and a coach and an agent, that kind of gives me an advantage. I know already what I'm looking for. I've been working players out for forever. So with that, I have an idea of what I'm looking for, but I also have a concept of fairness in which I cleaned house. So I'm looking for everything. And with that, the physiological makeup is one of the first predetermining factors. It's not a judge-all, but when you look at the body fat and the body type, flexibility, flexion, pliability of a player, and then some intangibles, which are are they engaged, are they paying attention? Those are telltales of what their IQ may look like when they get into action.
When you get time with a prospect like that, how quickly can you tell that their intangibles are not lining up to what you need?
Well, I believe that the physical aspect lines up with the mental and vice versa. So that's a quick telltale. So literally, I can pretty much tell, even the way that you articulate. If I talk to a player and they really can't articulate what they do well, let alone some of their pluses and minuses, then I know that chances are it's not going to line up physically.
So the league obviously claims it's a different league.
Yeah.
Tries to be a little bit different. It's very community oriented. How does that play into a role when you're looking for players to add to your team?
Sure. So because I started in nonprofit management through community sports leadership with over a decade of project management experience, I know exactly what that looks like and the type of player that I can mold even. So they might not be there, but what kind of personality they have, what kind of social media reflection they have, what kind of reach they have or could potentially have in the community that lines up with my key stakeholders over thousands of connections in the area that which we're playing in the Dallas area.
Right, so let's look at your area. A lot of these teams are different. Some of them have this, some of them don't. You are in a essentially shared market. It won't be evenly split, but shared with an NBA team that's there right there. So we'll take a look at the NBA one first. How does that affect a team like you?
Well,
if it does?
In a positive manner. Actually, the way that I look at it is that the more publicity and the more media behind our market, I believe that it drives the fan base. It will create other media opportunities which make the G League, and the NBA. And so I'm all for it. I'm excited. We also in community are a family within the league, and so Stevie and I, and as well as the Waco team, we've met here and we're networking, and so the things that I have already in place with my Leadership Institute as well as in community, I'm going to share those resources so that we can continue to grow and we can continue to provide quality players and quality jobs.
Do you see is there any sort of competition with now the TBL team that's nearby is Louisville?
Sure.
And so is there anything that you see that you'll have to deal with? I mean, obviously I know them pretty well. It's not going to be aggressive, but
no.
Is it something you have to consider at least?
I wouldn't necessarily say that, and that's probably because of my demeanor and my acumen as a former pro athlete.
Sure.
And so it's kind of like, my head is down, and we're in the lab. So literally, I don't have a player problem at all. And I say that in humility, but yet with confidence, because my reach is very far from international, domestically, clearly to, every level of the game. There's a lot happening in the sports world, and the Avalanche is working in my favor.
Okay, and so now having that experience working internationally and stuff like that, the league's very open that if their players get an offer mid-season, go.
Yeah.
How does a coach like that? That's a good thing, but it could screw everything up as far as your success as a team, right?
It could for some. It could for some, but I'm prepared for that, and I've been preparing for that since I took the position on. And so with that, I am literally constantly developing players, and they have an opportunity to come to lab sessions. And so I have a roster to a roster, if you will. So I want holes in my roster. I want guys, before the season probably even gets started good, I will have guys signed to contracts and be ready with guys that I have already trained, that have already acclimated, that will filter into the system. And that's still sharing players with other teams in my region.
So for a new player that signs on,
Sure.
and let's say after training camp is now in with Dallas, what's their week going to look like with you?
Oh, they better be ready. And 9 times out of 10, they're fairly prepared because they either train with me or they have trainers, and they kind of have an understanding of the system. And so clearly 2-a-days mixed in with some community, but a small scale in a very intense, few days of what the season's going to look like. So they're gonna be pretty tight.
Yeah. When you did your coaching, was it men teams or female teams?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
Did you have any experience or any issue with authority problems with guys on your team?
No, actually, because I'm relatable, and so yeah. Sure. I mean, I grew up and have coached. I've always been around the men's game, and so I do have an aura about me. I am an alpha female, but I am reasonable, and I know that with this generation, if you meet them where they're at, you will establish trust, and they will do what you need them to do.
Okay. What else about Dallas that you think we need to know that maybe we didn't talk about?
I mean, this is a market to watch. We're in a great situation, with G League not playing. We're the team to watch, literally.
Who are some of the teams that are in your division?
So we have Waco, we have Houston, then we have the Atlanta team, and then Enid. Those are in our region, yeah.
Okay. And Louisville too?
And Louisville.
Is Little Rock with you guys?
They are. Mm-hmm.
They are. Okay, you're a big one.
So we have state and then region, of course.
State and then
so
region.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think that's everything we need.
And then Shreveport. Now they're literally when they come out, that's gonna be a good market as well.
Are they not playing right away?
I believe they are.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
they are.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're gonna be able to pull some players from the
right,
States.
and they're an existing brand, or they were at least.
They were. They in the ABA, yeah. So,
which ones out of your division? Maybe I don't know if you know offhand. Were existing brands? Do you know?
Just them, from what I understand. And Louisville was already there,
yeah.
But pretty much Shreveport.
Skyline wasn't before.
They were not full tilt, but it did manifest where Prescott took it over. Yeah.
Is there any level that your team is at where any NBA teams or even G League knows about you? Like for somebody watching, they might have.
Of course they do.
That was for the people that aren't aware.
Okay.
They might be like, I mean, is it just a league on their own? Do the neighboring teams really know they're there? Like, how do they look at?
Sure. Well, I mean, that's our job is head coaches, owners, and GMs. So my network heavily is predicated upon G League, NBA, and international. And so this is not something that just recently occurred. With the history of the league, it's marketable, and so I have already gotten NBA and G League guys in international contacts that are ready to watch my guys play where we can play for exposure, and so our guys will see scouts from the preseason.
What about your coaching gives them an edge for getting exposure overseas?
So literally my understanding of the international markets, the style of play. So our style of play will be a combination of international play, obviously coupled with the way we play American basketball, from G League to NBA.
Awesome. I think that's everything.
Awesome.
I appreciate it.
Thanks
you
for
so
having me.
much. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it.
Awesome.